Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So guys, the XRP chart looking to break out. Dark Defender here saying this, hi all, XRP had the initial break just before our target on March the 31st. It hit the first target of about 54 cents. And so, this was essentially that level that we were looking to break out of. This 55 cent level here. If I throw a horizontal line on the chart here, you guys can see we've been talking about this level for a while now. It did come up. Resistance was tested back in September and again just a couple of weeks ago, so March the 29th. And as you guys can see, that was old support. Okay, from the bull run, old support, we did wick down back into this level before we tried to retest and make new highs, but we could not succeed in making new highs, so the trend did go lower. And now, guys, we are trying to get above this. He says, number one, XRP has broken the initial resistance. Number two, nobody likes to retest, but currently we are in it unless we can't break 54 cents. The second significant resistance level is between $1.42 and $1.85. So, something to be making note of. $1.42 would bring us right up here, the top of this level, according to Dark Defender here. Now, obviously, there are levels that we do have to get above before we, in fact, hit this level, like 91 cents, I think, personally, is a very significant level. But $1.42 and $1.85, which would ultimately bring us almost to this all-time high here. I mean, on this exchange, it was $1.96.6. On some other exchanges, it might be $1.85. So we'll just call it the top here. This zone, this top zone, is really going to be critical, of course, to make new all-time highs for XRP. And even if I just take this chart and throw it on let's throw it on the weekly here. Let's get rid of some of that. And to kind of just gauge on where we have been before and looking at where we are going next. So just taking this fractal pattern here and let's throw it on the entire trend, the trend that we have seen before. And if I zoom in here, and if we, just throw this on, kind of getting a sense of where we are going next in this trend. You guys can see this trend does line up very, very closely here. You guys can see, and we've done this in the past, the waves, boom, boom, up, down, and then here. And then on the actual chart, we saw it go up and then down again, bottomed out right in here. Okay, bottomed out. And in the middle there, we were seeing waves. And just a couple of weeks ago, we are seeing what could be considered this previous wave that we saw on the chart back in 2017, I guess it would be. So now the question remains, are we going to keep moving up from here, or are we going to see another move down? This is an interesting question because I'm sure a lot of us at this point do not want to see another move down. However, this could in fact happen over the spring and summer, and then maybe we won't see this activity until the fall of 2023. At this point, it is still anybody's guess. The other thing that I found interesting that I've showed on this channel in the past is when throwing a Fibonacci on this former trend here. You guys can see that fractal pattern, lining that up there. Look at that fractal pattern. Whoops. That fractal pattern lines up quite nicely with a Fibonacci. So a full fib would bring us up to this point here, 1372. And even if we retrace back to the $8.50 mark, there still could in fact be a push to the upside, making new all-time highs of $127 per XRP. I mean, that is wishful thinking, I'm sure, for a lot of the XRP community. I mean, we are still waiting for this verdict, so who knows what's going to happen, I mean, with the institutional influx of flows. But it is getting very, very interesting. I cannot deny that. Watch your guru here, guys, summing up the week, okay? And I hope you guys are actually enjoying, for those of you guys celebrating Easter, I hope you are enjoying Easter Sunday today. If you're spending it with friends and family, boy, what a week we have had, okay? $10 trillion asset manager BlackRock Paris headquarters was taken over by protesters. I hadn't really talked about that too much on this channel, but it is a significant event. Malaysian Prime Minister says there's no reason to continue to depend on the US dollar. So we got a lot of dollar talk this week. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince MBS says he is no longer interested in pleasing the United States. Former President Trump says our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard. The Bitcoin white paper was discovered on Apple MacBooks, which was kind of bizarre. U.S. presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. warns the Federal Reserve's FEDNow digital currency will result in financial slavery and political tyranny. Bank of America, JP Morgan, and other major banks subpoenaed over President Biden's family financial records. 3 U.S. congressmen introduced the gold standard bill to stabilize the value of the U.S. dollar. Twitter updates its website logo to the Dogecoin logo. We've also got the Chinese yuan replacing the U.S. dollar, becoming the most traded currency in Russia. Also, China to invest $39 billion in Malaysia. U.S. Treasury says decentralized crypto markets threaten national security. From Russia, Russia and India abandoned Europe-dominated oil price agree to use Dubai oil price benchmark. Almost nobody paid taxes in crypto in 2022. That is also a very, very poignant story, I think, and maybe why, the SEC is now coming down hard on cryptocurrencies. Former President Trump says China will probably displace the US dollar as number one currency in the world. Fed officials say Federal Reserve will need to raise interest rates above 5% and hold them there for a while. Thailand opposition leader promises 300 crypto airdrop per citizen if elected prime minister in May. Former President Trump's NFT sales have increased by 251% following his arrest. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says a Federal Reserve digital dollar threatens U.S. financial freedom. And finally, Arkansas passes a bill to protect Bitcoin and crypto mining. Guys, this all happened just this past week. So I think saying things are starting to heat up may be an understatement. We've also got this from Krishan Gopal here, posting this with regards to gold, okay? So gold, another big part of this global financial story. China expands gold reserves at central bank for fifth month. This would be extending the efforts by the world's central bank to boost their holdings of the precious metal. The People's Bank of China raised its holdings by about 18 tons in March, according to data on its website on Friday. Total stockpiles now sit at about 2,068 tons of gold after growing by about 102 tons in the 4 months before March. So China also stockpiling the king of precious metals. And, we've heard of BRICS countries already talking about creating a new central bank digital currency, something that is probably likely going to be tied to gold. I know there were murmurings of that. Gold and probably some other precious metals and maybe some other commodities, but they are looking to displace the US dollar as that reserve currency. So that's just more fuel to the fire. I think, China expanding their gold reserves. Panos here on Twitter also pointing this out. Contrary to the belief of most people that a cryptocurrency is not backed by anything, it does have intrinsic value, and it is backed by its utility and unique blockchain properties and features such as security, decentralization, immutability, scarcity, and known monetary policy. So, there still are a lot of naysayers. I don't know if they are playing dumb, i.e. the institutions that'll gaslight you and I and say, getting into that crypto stuff is just crap, it's backed by nothing, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, they know that the cryptocurrencies that hold value are going to be the ones that will be valuable, and they're just waiting for that regulatory clarity to come down the pipe before they start investing heavily, or if it indeed is just out of sheer ignorance. Panos goes on to say, on the other hand, fiat currencies have none of that, are not backed by anything other than trust in the government and the central bank, that have no transparency, and we don't even know what they will do tomorrow. They may devalue the currency, or worse, with CBDCs, be able to censor you. So, I think more and more people these days, more normies are waking up, as they say, and, more and more people have less and less trust in government institutions and are, in fact, looking towards alternative methods for payment, gold, silver, and obviously cryptocurrencies. Let's just take a look at gold today. Gold per ounce, look at that. We were talking about it coming out of that bullish pennant pattern. And, sure enough, we did see gold come out of that bullish pennant pattern, did hit a high of about $2,031 per ounce. Right now, sitting at about $2,007 per ounce. So, this does not surprise me one bit, considering the week we have had. Crypto Eddie here on Twitter posting this with regards to an XRPL development update. The XRPL zone in Austin, Texas, they are meeting on April the 27th in person with David Schwartz. The zone is an on-ramp for launching and accelerating new ideas on the XRP ledger. Wow, not much working. Happy hour starts at 3 p.m. So the link is there if you guys are interested. More for the developer types. I will link this in the description as well. XRPL zone-consensus.splashthat.com. Learn, connect, build, or connect, learn, build, XRPL Zone offers developers the best of both worlds with a physical space for building, learning, and collaborating in a productive and like-minded environment. The Zone is an on-ramp for launching and accelerating new ideas on the XRP ledger. Wanted to move along because Ripple is also partnering with the Global CBDC Symposium. Not only that, they are the only platinum sponsor. This coming from Ian Binns here on Twitter. The annual Global Digital Monetary Institution Symposium held in London expands the scope of discussion on practical and theoretical aspects of digital currencies like central bank digital currencies. The event has been attended by 126 central banks, not just banks, but central banks around the world, U.S. Treasury, and experts from across the digital financial sector. And they've named Ripple as their sole premium partner, their sole platinum sponsor for this event. So just the optics of that. Regardless of this event, they're going to definitely talk up central bank digital currencies to central banks specifically. But the optics of this, what does this look like to you? Ripple, their only platinum sponsor. Ripple, also probably one of the only cryptocurrency related companies that are even at the event. So this is one of those examples of a picture says 1,000 words. You know, you've got the big Ripple logo up there, platinum sponsor at a central bank digital currency event. And in attendance, 120 central banks, US treasuries, and experts from around the digital financial sector. Guys, I think we can guess where this is going, as one of the event's primary speakers, Susan Friedman, who is currently the head of public policy at Ripple, will be there to promote the company's vision for a larger fintech industry. The event is anticipated to be a pivotal gathering regarding central bank digital currencies, money transfer regulation, decentralized applications in business, and other related topics. So the private and public partnership front and center, of course. Governments love Ripple. Well, maybe not the US government, but governments around the world have been very receptive to utilizing RippleNet technology. And Anders brought this up. I talked about this a few weeks ago in another capacity, and then a few months ago before that, and I thought I'd bring these clips together for you with regards to that governmental private-public partnership. We know FEDNow is launching in July. There was this question about whether it will be using XRP or cypherium. And so I'm going to play you guys this clip from a video I did just 3 weeks ago. Listen to this. So for years we were talking about how FEDNow could be running on Ripple. However, there has been new news that has come out as of late. XRP Nuts down here posting this. FEDNow SM Services chooses cypherium as a service provider. And before you guys say, that's FUD, or yeah, so they're not using XRP. Why are you even bothering? Guys, let's not jump the gun here. Let's not jump to conclusions. So on the surface, okay, first of all, I guess we have to go back and remember, a lot of these blockchains are interoperable. There is not going to be one coin that rules them all. And, a lot of these projects are going to complement other projects. So yes, FEDNow services using cypherium, but let's pay attention to some of the other facts here. Mr. Man on Twitter bringing this up. So with regards to FEDNow and cypherium clearing systems, some of the more crucial functions that banks provide include clearing, settling, and transferring funds between separate ledgers. A single bank cannot provide these services alone. All right. Instead, these tasks are accomplished through communicating and sharing liquidity among different banks in different countries and regions. So, first off, they cannot provide these functions alone. This bank is definitely going to be communicating with many different banks, so we got to remember that. I know FEDNow, they're talking about domestic payments here, but just hear me out for a second, because this also references the cypherium clearing system. So they're going to need a complementary system, I think, to provide that liquidity. Enter Ripple, enter XRP. That would explain, obviously, the Valente connection and the VolPay using Ripple processor module. This goes on to say, in this way, clearing systems can be thought of as a network of channels and hubs connecting bank liquidity. So guys, there is one point that I wanted to mention. Wheezy at Nerd Nation Unboxed also brought this up. Ken Montgomery. I told you guys to remember that name. He is the FEDNow program executive. We'll get this connection, okay? Ken Montgomery was head of the Faster Payments Task Force when Aaron Wright proposed them using Ripple for faster payments. Ken Montgomery is now at FEDNow, and they're ready to launch instant payments as the lawsuit comes to an end. So guys, just to go back a few years here, Faster Payments Task Force participant roster included Ryan Zagone at Ripple. And at that time, Ken Montgomery was the head of the Faster Payments Task Force. The task force has been a useful forum for bringing all voices to the table to discuss the very real and challenging security threats we face in the payment system. This a direct quote from Ken Montgomery. And it was when Aaron Wright proposed them using Ripple for faster payments. I don't know if you guys remember that. Do I have a clip here referencing that? I believe there is a clip somewhere referencing that, although I cannot find it. I have mentioned it in other videos that I've done. I'll see if I can find the video that I've done where Aaron Wright did mention in, I think it was 2014 or 2015, that there was some talk at the Fed about using or leveraging RippleNet for CBDC transfers. And I'll see if I can find that video anyway. I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner if I can. So unfortunately, at that time when I did that video, I wasn't able to find the clip. So I did not, in fact, link it in the top right-hand corner of that video. I do have the clip now, though, guys. If you're not familiar, Ripple was proposed back to the Fed in 2014 and 2015 when asked about central bank digital currencies, and this is what Aaron Wright said about that experience.
15, pretty much like people didn't call it that at the time, but like a permission blockchain for central bank digital currencies. They came to a group of researchers and said, if we hypothetically wanted to digitize the dollar, what would that look like? What we said is, look, you can start with a permission blockchain. It can be, pan jurisdiction, so it's not just for the US dollar, but for a whole bunch of other currencies. So you get that interoperability, right? You get things like we see on Ripple, et cetera.
You hear what he said at the end there? You get things, and he gave the example of Ripple, etc. Fast forward to today, and guys, obviously FEDNow looking for their release very, very soon. So going back to this tweet from Anders, I also highlighted this in a video I did 7 months ago. So he's retweeted this out, the same tweet, the same information, when David said this about building modern internationalized payments for the Fed. The other point with regards to XRP is that we know that XRP, we've heard Brad Garlinghouse say this, we know that XRP is best utilized. Now, it's not to say that it will not be utilized in other circumstances, but it is best utilized when transferring one type of asset to another and not so much for domestic payments. Well, Crypto Eddie posted this at launch. FedNow will only support domestic transfers. So no cross-border transfers, at least not at this moment. Institutions must have adequate funds or available credit to settle each account. Banks can leverage FedNow Liquidity Management Transaction, or LMT, manage transfer liquidity. And so you can click down here, and there's another resource here with regards to that. And of course, as always, I will link this all in the description for you guys to check out if you're interested. So I guess that probably answers our question in the immediate term. XRP probably not being used. I mean, I guess not if you have the liquidity available, but maybe it will be used if liquidity is needed. I mean, large transactions, again, we don't really have too many details on this. How big are these transactions allowed to be? Is it an infinite amount of money that you can send to anybody? Or are they going to cap it at, let's say, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000? I don't know. One thing we do know, though, is that it will be for domestic transfers and no cross-border payments, at least not as of yet. And Rick R. down here also just mentioning this, a tweet retweeted out by Anders here. With all the talks about FedNow, David Schwartz mentioned the benefits of domestic real-time payments in a speech. XRP would bridge different real-time payment systems. So what David Schwartz said back in 2020, the biggest obstacle is often the very last hop, getting the funds to the payment recipient through the domestic payment system. And I guess maybe this is where we would see XRP utility come in handy. He went on to say, but lacking connectivity to customers or to consumers, CBDCs won't solve the last mile problem that has made modernizing international payments so difficult. And then also just here, so there is definitely an opportunity here to bridge domestic real-time payment systems, such as FedNow and the Clearinghouse for USD, with powerful benefits for SMEs and ultimately consumers around the world. So there is still that last mile problem. And so as per Anders here, XRP could bridge different real-time payment systems. Boom, there you have it. And Anders bringing it up again because, there's a lot of chatter surrounding FedNow. It is going to be finally launched in the coming months. So David Schwartz did mention it. There still is that last mile problem. XRP could help solve for that problem. So we're seeing it here, guys. The private-public partnerships, even though we do feel like the U.S. government is not too keen on utilizing XRP today. I also wanted to bring this to your attention from Digital Assets Daily, retweeting out this tweet from Ripple's official Twitter handle. Blockchain is here to stay. Ripple board member Rosie Rios. Listen to this.
I'm Rosie Rios, former Treasurer of the United States and current board member of Ripple. What I like to talk about is really kind of this intersection between government and innovation. Certainly coming from the Bay Area, born and raised in Silicon Valley, I've seen a lot of change over time. And what I love is the conversation is really starting to happen in a constructive way where I think we as a region, we as a country, and perhaps we as a globe could really think about the future of fintech and who the stakeholders are and how we can make this effective for everyone. So when you think about growth, it's not just kind of GDP growth, which of course is a big part of the economy, but it's also where new growth comes from. And that usually comes from, certainly lately, in technology and innovation. So I think the benefit of why business and government should be working together is, again, providing that level of certainty for further expansion, further growth, and certainly more jobs for the economy. So blockchain is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And so it's not just how to facilitate commerce. There are other applications, whether it's NFTs, whether it's, selling real estate, whether it's, any type of financial ledger that can be recorded for posterity's sake. This is here to stay. And it's important and incumbent upon the government at every level, whether it's local, whether it's state, whether it's national, to really give some thought as to how those applications are going to benefit them and benefit everyone. But I think what's most important is what are those guardrails? What are those tracks that we can lay down in order to move forward in a way that really blazes the trail for future growth and future opportunities that we don't even know are there yet?
So public-private partnerships, government working together with the fintech industry. If you missed it, that's what Rosie Rios was hitting home as being of utmost importance.
So I think the benefit of why business and government should be working together.
Government and private entities is what's really going to grow this economy through crypto technology, through fintech. Even the White House put out that economic report back last month. It speaks to new technologies, old economies, and digital assets. IoT, or the Internet of Things, a US CBDC, a digital form of the US dollar, would have the potential to offer significant benefits. It could enable a payment system that is more efficient, provide a foundation for further technological innovation, facilitate faster cross-border transactions, i.e. RippleNet and other DLT technology, and be environmentally sustainable. Could also protect consumers, promote economic growth, the same talking points here that Rosie Rios is saying, provide interoperability with other platforms, also promote financial inclusion. And if you guys are interested, the link is below in this tweet thread. So what do you guys think? It sounds to me like Rosie Rios is letting us in on something, even though it might not be so obvious considering where we're at with cryptocurrency technology in the United States. The private-public partnerships are of utmost importance. Of course, she's also on Ripple's board of directors. So that speaks volumes too. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.